CO's daughter was paralyzed, until a single dad walked in and said, "Let me help her," in the heart of downtown Chicago. Skyscrapers gleamed and fortunes changed hands with the tap of a finger. At the top of it all was Victoria Harlow, the CEO of Harlow Industries, a billion-dollar tech empire. But despite her power and prestige, nothing could fix what truly broke her. Her 9-year-old daughter, Lena, had been paralyzed from the waist down after a tragic car accident a year prior. Victoria had spared no expense. Europe's top neurologists, the best American rehab centers, even experimental treatment abroad, all had failed. One morning, while waiting for another specialist's opinion at a pediatric clinic, Victoria noticed something. A man in a faded hoodie and jeans crouched beside a little girl, helping her walk with makeshift braces made from what looked like old sports gear and rubber bands. The girl giggled as she took slow, determined steps. Curious hand, desperate Victoria approached. The man stood, his expression cautious but kind. "I'm sorry," Victoria said, eyeing the gear. "Did you make those yourself?" The man nodded. "Yeah, insurance wouldn't cover what she needed, so I figured out my own way." Victoria extended a hand. "I'm Victoria." He shook it. "James Carter, single dad. My daughter's name is Emily." Victoria hesitated, then asked quietly, "Would you take a look at my daughter?" James blinked. "I'm not a doctor, but you helped your daughter walk. Everyone else gave up on mine." Reluctantly, James agreed to visit their penthouse that weekend. When he arrived with a duffel bag of makeshift tools, the staff sneered. But Lena's eyes lit up the moment she saw him. He didn't ask about the accident. He didn't talk to her like she was broken. He got down on the floor with her. "You like robots?" he asked, pulling out a small motorized toy he'd modified to react to voice commands. Lena giggled. Fascinated, over the next few weeks, James visited regularly. He designed custom braces that moved with Lena's natural muscle tics, encouraging dormant nerves. He coached her in mental tricks to bypass trauma-induced blocks. Slowly, shockingly, Lena's legs began to respond. Victoria watched the transformation in awe. One rainy afternoon, she pulled James aside. "Why are you doing this?" "I can pay you anything. I'm not doing it for the money," James said quietly. "When my wife died, I didn't know how to be a father. But helping my daughter walk again gave me purpose. Maybe helping yours is part of that too." Lena took her first unassisted steps exactly 93 days after James first walked in. The media caught wind of it. "Billionaire's daughter walks again thanks to janitor dad," the headlines read. James turned down TV deals. He didn't care. But Victoria did something different. She offered him a position, Director of Practical Innovation, giving him access to labs, funding, and a mission to help kids like Lena and Emily all over the world. Years later, when Lena walked across the stage to receive her diploma, she clutched a small handmade robot in her hand, the same one James gave her the day everything changed, and James... He watched from the crowd, smiling beside his daughter, knowing that a single act of compassion had rewritten both their stories forever. Victoria Harlow had built an empire. Harlow Industries was synonymous with innovation, leadership, and control. Three things Victoria embodied with ruthless elegance. She ran boardrooms with an iron will and made billion-dollar decisions over espresso. But behind closed doors, she was a mother, a broken one. Her daughter Lena had been a vibrant, adventurous girl until the car crash. A drunk driver slammed into their vehicle during a weekend outing. Victoria survived with minor injuries. Lena didn't. The diagnosis was brutal. T6 spinal cord injury. Paralyzed from the waist down. Doctors spoke in clinical tones. Permanent, severe nerve damage. She'll never walk again. Victoria tried everything. Private hospitals, European specialists, AI-based exoskeletons. Nothing helped. Lena stopped. Smiling, stopped talking. Her sparkle faded. Victoria, the woman who could fix anything, couldn't fix her own daughter at a small pediatric clinic. Far from the elite facilities Victoria usually used, she sat with Lena, waiting for a new referral. The receptionist had squeezed her in last minute. Victoria kept her sunglasses on to avoid attention. That's when she saw him. A scruffy man, early 40s, crouched beside a little girl with messy pigtails. He gently fastened Velcro straps on a strange brace wrapped around her leg. "Okay, Em, let's show the world what you've got." The girl wobbled, then took a shaky step. Victoria's heart stilled. That was walking. When the session ended, Victoria approached. "I saw your daughter walk. May I ask, what are those braces?" He glanced at her warily. "Custom. I made them." "You're an engineer." He chuckled. "Used to be. Now I mop floors at Lincoln Elementary." She blinked. "You're a janitor." "Single dad," he replied with a shrug. "Insurance wouldn't cover physical therapy, so I built my own." Victoria extended her hand. "I'm Victoria Harlow." His eyes widened. "The tech CEO. I'm a mother first. My daughter, she hasn't walked in a year. Will you help her?" James Carter arrived at Victoria's penthouse with nothing but a gym bag full of makeshift tools, Velcro, silicone tubing, plastic mold strips, and a soldering pen. Lena sat in her wheelchair, arms crossed. She hadn't spoken in 3 days. James didn't force anything. He knelt beside her. "Mind if I show you something?" From his bag, he pulled out a tiny robot that looked like a turtle. "This one responds to claps. Wanna try?" Lena hesitated, then clapped. The robot whirred and crawled toward her. A giggle broke the silence. It was the first sound Victoria had heard from her daughter in weeks. Over the next 3 months, James came daily. He adjusted Lena's braces with care, tuned them like a musician tuning strings. He spoke to her not as a patient but as a person. "Every step matters," he said, "even the ones that hurt." He taught her breathing techniques to cope with nerve spasms, used music to retrain her brain's connection with dormant muscles. Slowly, painfully, Lena's legs began to twitch. Victoria started canceling meetings. She spent more time on the floor with them, holding Lena's hand as she practiced sitting up. For the first time in her adult life, Victoria cried not from despair, but from hope. On day 93, Lena took 3 full steps between the couch and James' outstretched arms, then burst into tears. So did Victoria. The news broke fast. A nurse from the clinic had leaked the story. "Billionaire's daughter walks again, thanks to janitor dad's homemade braces." TV crews camped outside the penthouse. Medical journals demanded interviews. Investment firms wanted to fund James' invention. He turned them all down. "I didn't do this for fame," he said. "I just wanted to help a little girl walk again." Victoria offered James a full-time position, Director of Adaptive Technologies at Harlow Labs. He refused at first. "I'm not a suit anti guy," he laughed. "I don't want a suit," she said. "I want the man who gave my daughter her life back." With Emily at his side and a vision for helping kids no one else would, James accepted. Together, they launched the Lena Project, a non-profit branch of Harlow Industries dedicated to developing affordable, adaptive mobility tech for children worldwide. 5 years later, Lena Harlow walked across her middle school graduation stage to a standing ovation. In her hand was the same clap-activated turtle James gave her on day 1, as she spoke to the crowd. She said, "I once thought I'd never walk again, but someone believed I could have when no one else did. Mr. Carter, you didn't just fix my legs, you fixed my heart." James sat in the front row, beside Victoria and Emily, his eyes filled with quiet pride. He hadn't come from wealth, but he gave something worth more than money: hope.